You land in a new city. It's 2 in the afternoon, and for most people, jet lag ruins the first 3 days of their trip. You have a dinner reservation, a meeting, or simply a trip you've been planning for months, and your body feels like it's 3 in the morning and someone's replaced your brain with wet sand. That is jet lag, and most of the advice you've been given about it probably doesn't work as well as advertised. This video covers what the science and experienced long-haul travelers actually agree on, not sleeping pills and eye masks alone, the specific things you do before, during, and after the flight that determine whether you arrive functioning or destroyed. Some of this will confirm what you already do, some of it will contradict the advice you've been given for years. But fix just 2 things from this video, and most people feel normal within 24 hours of landing. All of it is based on how the circadian rhythm actually responds to travel, not how we wish it did. Subscribe if you want more of this. Travel strategies, airline guides, the stuff that actually changes how you feel when you arrive. Now, what jet lag actually is, and why most tips only address half of it. What jet lag actually is. Jet lag is not tiredness from a long flight. Those are 2 different things. Flight fatigue resolves with sleep, jet lag does not. Jet lag is a misalignment between your internal clock and the local time at your destination. Your body runs on a 24-hour cycle that regulates when you feel alert, when you feel sleepy, when your digestion works. Cross enough time zones and that cycle runs on the wrong schedule. The result is not just tiredness, it's inability to sleep when you should, inability to stay awake when you need to, and difficulty concentrating that can last several days. The reason most jet lag advice only partially works is that it focuses on sleep, an output of the circadian rhythm, rather than the inputs that reset it. Light exposure, meal timing, and physical activity are the 3 primary inputs. Sleep pills do not shift your clock, they make you unconscious. That is useful, but not the same thing. And this is where most advice completely fails. It treats the symptoms instead of the cause. Start shifting 2 days before you leave. Your circadian rhythm shifts by about 1 to 1.5 hours per day. Cross 8 time zones, and that means 8 days of natural adjustment, which is why the first week of a long trip can feel so difficult. Start shifting before you fly. If traveling east, go to bed 1 hour earlier 2 nights before departure and another hour earlier the night before. Set your phone and meals to destination time on departure morning. Traveling west, do the reverse, 1 hour later each night. These shifts are small enough to be livable. Combined with what you do on the plane and after landing, they reduce the adjustment period by a day or 2, meaningful on any trip under 2 weeks. Choose your flight time deliberately. The flight you book affects your jet lag as much as anything you do on board. An overnight flight that arrives in the morning local time gives you a structure to work with. Stay awake on arrival, get through the first day in daylight, sleep at normal local bedtime, and your clock has its first proper reset. A flight that arrives at 11 p.m. local time after a daytime departure gives you nothing to work with. You arrive exhausted, sleep immediately, and wake up at 3 a.m. local time when your body thinks it's morning. When comparing flights on the same route, the arrival time at destination matters more than the departure time. Book into the morning if you can. Use Kiwi to compare departure and arrival times across airlines on your route before you commit. The difference between 2 flights on the same day can be several hours of arrival time, which translates directly into how quickly you recover. Link in the description. On the flight, set your clock to destination time the moment you board. This is the most consistently effective behavioral intervention for jet lag, and the most consistently ignored one. The moment you sit down on the plane, set every clock you use to destination time, your phone, your watch, everything. Then make every decision on the flight based on that time. If it's 2 a.m. at your destination, sleep, even if it's the middle of the day at home. If it's 9 a.m. at your destination, stay awake and eat breakfast, even if your body thinks it's bedtime. This sounds simple. It's genuinely difficult when your body is giving you strong signals in the other direction. But it works, because you're starting to align your behavior with your new time zone immediately, rather than waiting until you land. Every hour of behavioral alignment on the plane is 1 fewer hour your body needs to adjust after. The next tip contradicts what most travel articles tell you. Pay attention. Light is the most powerful reset tool. Use it deliberately. Light exposure is the primary signal your circadian rhythm uses to set your clock. Morning light advances it, tells your body the day has started. Evening light delays it, suppresses melatonin. On a long flight, use this deliberately. If you need to sleep because it's nighttime at your destination, avoid bright screens and use a blackout mask. If you need to stay awake because it's daytime there, keep your overhead light on and avoid the mask. On arrival, get outside in natural morning light as soon as possible. Even 30 minutes resets your clock faster than any supplement. It's free, requires no preparation, and most travelers never make it a deliberate part of their recovery. Meal timing matters more than what you eat. Your digestive system runs on its own circadian clock, and eating at the wrong time relative to your destination can extend jet lag even when everything else is right. The practical rule is simple. Eat on destination time, not home time. If it's 7 a.m. at your destination, eat breakfast, even on the plane, even if you're not hungry. If it's 2 a.m. at your destination, do not eat a full meal when the airline service comes around. This is genuinely difficult because airline meal timing is set by departure schedule, not your destination. On long-haul flights, it's worth pre-ordering a special meal, which we cover in a separate video, so that your meal arrives when you want it rather than when the galley schedule dictates. On arrival, keep your first 2 days of meals on local schedule, even if your appetite doesn't match. Hunger follows the clock. Feed the clock first. Get this wrong, and you can extend your jet lag by 1 to 2 days, even if everything else is right. Stay awake until local bedtime on day 1, no matter what. This is the hardest rule in jet lag recovery and the most important one. If you arrive in the morning or afternoon local time, you must stay awake until a reasonable local bedtime, ideally 9 or 10 p.m. Not because you're not exhausted, you probably are. But going to sleep at 4 p.m. local time after a transatlantic flight means waking up at midnight, being fully alert at 2 a.m. and spending 3 days trying to recover from a single bad first night. 1 hour of walking outside in natural afternoon light does more for your jet lag than 4 hours of napping in a dark hotel room. If you must nap, and sometimes you must, limit it to 20 minutes maximum. Set an alarm and do it before 3 p.m. local time. A 20-minute nap takes the edge off physical exhaustion without locking your clock into the wrong schedule. Anything longer does. Before the last two, if you're traveling internationally and need data on your phone the moment you land, Saily eSIM gives you coverage in over 150 countries with no roaming fees and no SIM swap. You can set it up before you leave, and it activates when you land. Useful for getting a car, navigating, or letting someone know you arrived. Link in the description. Melatonin, the right dose at the right time. Melatonin is the one supplement with consistent research support for jet lag, but most people take too much of it at the wrong time, which reduces its effectiveness. Melatonin is a timing signal, not a sleeping pill. Your body produces it naturally in the evening as a signal that night is approaching. Taking a large dose, the 5 mg and 10 mg tablets common in pharmacies, produces blood levels far above what your body naturally uses and can cause grogginess the following day. The research-supported dose for jet lag is 0.5 to 1 mg, taken about 30 minutes before your target bedtime at the destination. On arrival day, this means taking it at 9 or 9:30 p.m. local time for the first 2 to 3 nights. This signals to your clock that local night has arrived at the right time and at the right strength. It does not knock you out, it nudges your clock. That is what it's for. Movement on arrival day. Physical activity is the third input that shifts the circadian clock. After light and food, you don't need to exercise hard after a long flight, but 30 to 45 minutes of walking outside in natural daylight on your arrival afternoon does 3 things simultaneously. It exposes you to morning or afternoon light, it signals to your body that you're in an active waking state, and it keeps you awake long enough to reach local bedtime. A walk around the neighborhood, through a park, or even just along the street near your hotel is enough. The combination of light, movement, and staying awake through the afternoon is the single most effective non-pharmacological intervention for jet lag on arrival day. It's also the intervention most travelers skip because they feel too tired to do it. The tiredness is the reason to go, not the reason to stay in. What actually works? 8 things. The 2 that matter most are light and behavioral alignment. Setting your clock to destination time the moment you board and getting outside in natural light on arrival morning. Everything else supports those 2. Start shifting your sleep schedule 2 nights before departure. Choose a flight that arrives in the morning, eat on destination time during the flight. Stay awake until local bedtime on arrival day, even when you don't want to. Take a low dose of melatonin at local bedtime for the first 2 nights. Walk outside in the afternoon. Jet lag is not a mystery, it is a biological process with known inputs. Control the inputs and you control the recovery. If this helped, hit like. Share it with someone who has a long trip coming up. Subscribe for more and drop a comment. What is the worst jet lag you've ever had? And where were you going?